Hello guys, welcome back to Purple Daffodils. Today we are going to see a story 40 Fortunes, a tale of Iran told by Aaron. Aaron Shepard was born in 1950. He is an American author and a professional storyteller. He worked in many fields including printing, music and computer programming, known for retelling folk tales and classical stories from around the world. He is the author of The Legend of Lightning Larry, The Sea King's Daughter, The Baker's Dozen, and many more children's books from publishers to ranges from large to small. On the web, Aaron maintains an extensive collection of resources for teachers, librarians, storytellers, children writers, parents, and kids. His site have been viewed by over 7 million visitors and had drawn over 25,000 visitors a week. And about the characters in the story 40 Fortune, Ahmad, hero, Jamal, Ahmad's wife, the wife of one of the king's ministers, lost her precious ring at the public bath. The king's servant, one of the thieves, the chief of the thieves, setting Isfahan. The 40 Fortune talks about the story of Ahmad, a poor man who lives with his wife Jamal in the royal city of Isfahan. And Ahmad, no, he has no trade or he is willing to learn anything. His only possession are a shovel and a pick, which he uses to dig holes for a small income. He is content with earning just enough to survive. What he says is just dig a hole and live a better life. But then Jamal is unhappy with their poor state and she dreams of a better life. One fine day, what happened? Jamal, she wanted to have a refreshing bath, so she went to the public bathhouse. But the public bathhouse manager, he says she cannot get inside the bath now because the whole of the public bath is booked by the wife of king's royal diviner. This made Jamil to get infuriated and feels humiliated because she thinks just because the lady is the wife of king's royal diviner, she doesn't have to showcase her power and showcase her money. So what she wanted to do was she immediately came to her husband and told him that if he becomes a fortune teller, they will live a better life. But he doesn't know what is fortune telling and how to do it. And Jamal says simply roll the dice and mumble some wisely words and tell whatever that comes to your mind. That is all about fortune telling. She also says that fortune tellers succeed by using intelligence and common sense rather than real music. But Ahmed is not okay with what Jamal is telling. Seeing the doubt in Ahmed, Jamal says, if you are not willing to become a fortune teller, then I am leaving to my father's house. And this threatening words made Ahmed to accept Jamal's request. So next, Ahmed what he did, he sold his shovel and a pick to buy dice and board and the robes of a diviner. After buying all these things, he goes to the marketplace and find a place near the public bathhouse and sits there and wait for the customer. And when he is waiting, there came a lady, and she is the wife of one of the king's ministers. And she came to Ahmad and says she lost her precious ring at the public bathhouse. Unsure what to do, Ahmad was thinking what to tell to her, and he saw a hole in her cloak, in her dress. Casually, he mentions, "There is a hole, ma'am." And then, unsure what he is telling, the wife of king's minister, she again asked, "What did you say?" He again repeated it as hole. And now something clicks to the lady's mind, and she immediately leaves from there and goes to the public bathhouse. And there in the wall, there is a hidden hole. She kept her ring hidden in that hole to keep it safe. And she forgot that thing. And when she found out the ring, she came back to Ahmed and said, "You are sent by God. You are like a good charm." And then she gave him a gold coin. And on that evening, Ahmad went to home and told whatever happened in the marketplace. And Jamil congratulates him. But then Ahmad says, even though it is I'm lucky for one day, but I'm not sure whether God will give the same luck for all the days. And the very night, the king's treasury is robbed by 40 chests of treasure. And the king immediately summoned the royal diviner and his assistants. All of them came and they rolled dice and they said some wisely words, but nobody knows what exactly happened, and they don't even have one single clue how to find out the king's treasure. So when the king get agitated, he threw all the diviners into the prison. And then he heard about the fortune told by Ahmad to one of the wife of king's minister, finding about the lost ring. So he immediately summons to Ahmad. So two soldiers from the king's court came to Ahmad and took him to the king. Ahmad has no idea who the thieves are, or where the treasure is. But when he thinks carefully, he understood that the 40 chests of treasures were gone. That means 40 thieves might have been there to steal the treasure. So he says to the king that there must have been 40 thieves because 40 chests were stolen. When he says these words, the king is impressed. So he immediately asked him to find out the thieves and bring back the treasure. But then Ahmad says his magic power is limited, so he needs some more days to find out the treasure and the thieves. And the king asked how many days he needed. And Ahmad says, since 40 chest is lost and 40 thieves are there, he need 40 days to solve the case. And knowing and this is what he says to the king. And the king says, if you fail to do this, and I will put you in the same cell as of the all the diviners were in. That is what he says. And Ahmad says he is well aware of all these things, and he goes back home and says all these things to his wife, and he's very worried. So what he decided, no, he took a jar and filled 40 dried dates in the jar and decided to eat one dates every evening, so that he will have a track of all the 40. And unknown to Ahmed, one of the king's servant, who is one among the thieves, he heard the conversation between the king and Ahmed. So he went to the chief of thieves and reported about the Ahmed's finding out about ring and his duty to find out the thieves. But the chief says, don't worry about him. You just keep an eye on him. Go spy on him. That is what the chief of the thieves says. So that king's servant on that day, he went to Ahmad's home by hiding on the roof of his house. He was looking into Ahmad, and that time it is an evening. So Ahmad, he eats the first date, and he says to his wife that that's one. This frightened the thief, thinks Ahmad had discovered him, and rushes back to report that Ahmad possesses magical power. But the chief, no, he denies it and says, tomorrow you get one more person, and two of them go to Ahmad's home and find out what happens. And on the next day evening, two thieves came there along with that. One is that king's servant and one more thief. Two of them came there and they were on the roof of Ahmad's house, and Ahmad ate the second dried dates and said, that's two. And then the chief again, he sent three thieves on the third day. On the third day, three thieves came. They were on the roof, and that time Ahmad ate the third dates and says, that's three. And the same way, the chief sent continuously, adding on one thief each night. And every evening, Ahmed eats one more dates and says that corresponding number. And the thieves become convinced that Ahmed knows exactly how many of them are spying on him and how many of them stole the chest. And then on the 40th day, all the 40 thieves, along with the chief of the thieves including, came to the roof of Ahmed. Ahmed, he ate the 40th date and says to his wife, that is the 40th, that is the 40. And when the 40 thieves hear this thing, they understood Ahmed has good power over fortune telling. And terrified, all the 40 thieves finally decided to visit Ahmed and beg him to spare them. And when Ahmad ate the 40th and he was telling his wife that this is the 40th date, I don't know what will happen to us next, and I don't even found the 40 thieves. And Jamal says she is very sorry because she is the one who pushed him to become the diviner. If she did not push him, then he might have not got into such a trouble. And Ahmad says he already forgave Jamal. It has nothing to do with her, but it is their own fortune. That is what Ahmed could tell. And that time, Ahmed heard the knocking at the door, and Ahmed says, I know who is there. It must be the king's men. So he went towards the door and says, I know who's there. Wait, I will come, and I'll come along with you. That is what he says. I know who is there and why you came, and I'll come with you. That is what Agman says to the door. When he opened the door, he was expecting the king's soldiers, but then when he opened, there were 40 thieves, and they were on their knees begging Ahmad that they understand Ahmad has power, and they begged him to save them, not to him hand over all the 40 of them to the king. So Ahmad agrees on one condition, that they return all the stolen treasure to the royal treasury before dawn. The thieves accepts and secretly return every chest from the king's treasury. On the next day, Ahmed went to the king, and he says, King, with my magic power, I can only either reveal the 40 thieves or bring back your treasure. Any one I can do, but I cannot do both. Since the king valued treasure more, and he also says that even though there is a boiling oil waiting for the thieves, but he cannot think of that now. He only needed treasure as of now. So he chooses the treasure. So when he chooses the treasure, Ahmed, what he did, he rolled the dice and said some wiseful words and said, King, all your treasure had returned to your treasury. You can go and check. The king, overjoyed, he gets Ahmad along with him. When they opened the treasury, all the 40 chests are back, and the king was very happy. He offered Ahmad the position of royal diviner. But Ahmad, he honestly explained, since he used all his magical power to bring back the treasure, he cannot serve as a king's diviner anymore. So, believing his explanation, the king rewards him generously with two chests of treasure, and Ahmad and Jamil become wealthy and live a happy life ever after. And that is all about the 40 fortunes. And people understood the story. And thank you for patiently listening. Please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And thank you so much.